when you walked in the door. One of them is just an overview of this evening's program. I'm going to reference that in the opening slides. And another one is the PowerPoint slides if you want to refer to them or reference them later. I wanted to be able to send them home with you. The purpose of our meeting this evening is to launch the first in a series of 3 sessions that we want to host throughout this school year, focused specifically on Hempfield School District's educational programs and the communication structures and processes that connect to those programs so that we can stay in good communication with each other. So tonight is our first session, and then our second session is actually is scheduled for Monday, February 2nd, 2015. Same place, same time. And then we're still trying to determine whether or not a May 2015 session or an August 2015 session would be the best date for our third option. So if you have any thoughts about that, we have given you attached to that top paper a parent feedback sheet for tonight. And that might be if you have any thoughts about the third session, if you'd like to give us a vote for May or August, which would be the best for you, that would be great. We would welcome that feedback. So tonight is the first of 3. And these 3 sessions are actually planned for and sponsored by the Parents as Partners Task Force Group. You can see their names and the group that they're representing, and I would like to ask all of the members of the Parents as Partners Task Force to just rise so that people can see who's been working together to plan this evening and the future sessions. So stand up for me, task force members. Thank you so much. They represent parents, they represent school employees who are parents, as well as some school employees. Maybe you're parents, but they don't have parents in the district. So we've been working hard to bring these programs to you, and we will continue to do that. We've been working together as a task force to improve communication that will create more effective homeschool partnerships. We know that we have good homeschool partnerships throughout the district, but we want to just continue to do a better job. And this task force is providing us with a launch point for that. This evening, a very quick 1.5 hours. We're going to spend some time together as a large group in the auditorium, and then there are 2 breakout session times set aside, but there are actually 4 choices for you to choose from to go to one of those 2 breakout sessions. And we build in a little travel time, even though all of the breakout sessions are very close to us down the hallway, closest to the auditorium. But these are the choices that you will have, and the descriptions are given to you on that top handout sheet. But there are 4 choices for you to choose from. You can choose 2 of the 4 for this evening. And again, each place that you are on that feedback sheet, there's a place for you to jot down some comments about how did you feel about the session? How did you feel about this opening time together? What did you get out of the first session you chose? What did you get out of the second session you chose? And then there's also just some general areas on that feedback sheet for you to just give us any feedback that you would like to have to send back to us, as well as pose questions that maybe we need to look at and consider for some upcoming information sessions. So that's basically the structure for this evening. And basically we're going to launch these options, these sessions for you to choose from. We're going to launch them together by taking a look at, I just want to share with you a little bit about how Hempfield actually keeps the curriculum fresh for students. And all of the sessions that we offer during these parent information nights focusing on educational programming will fall under this umbrella of a cycle, of a process of an infrastructure that we call at Hempfield the Hempfield Curriculum Audit and Revision Cycle. And this is a cycle that actually, this practice, it was board approved in the spring of 2010. So this cycle has been in effect for a little while. And it's designed to make sure that we keep our curriculum on top of things for all of our students in all of our content areas and in all grades and courses for all children in the school district. This is the vision that we have cast for the Hempfield School District and for curriculum in the Hempfield School District. And these words were chosen very carefully as we cast out this vision to the staff. And I'm casting out this vision to you tonight. For Hempfield, we've done a lot of work over many years for curriculum, but we didn't have a single standardized system for documenting curriculum, for storing curriculum, for refreshing curriculum. And this board-approved, 2010 board-approved curriculum audit revision cycle brought that infrastructure in place to Hempfield. And this was the vision that we cast to make this vision come alive through the work of this cycle. We wanted a 21st century curriculum. One of the sessions tonight that you can choose from is all about how our library resources are transitioning from traditional, we'll always have traditional library resources, but we're transferring to e-resources. So one of the sessions tonight is connected to that 21st century, standards aligned, electronically managed. I'm going to show you a little bit tonight how we've transferred an electronically managed curriculum and made it part of it accessible to you. 24/7, anytime, anywhere, you can access information about the courses that your children are taking in the Hempfield School District. So we cast out those words, and again, I can't emphasize it more, we want a 21st century standards-aligned curriculum for all students in all content areas and in all grades and courses K through 12. We want our curriculum to be whatever we identify as learning goals for students. If it's written down as learning goals for students, we want that curriculum to be the taught curriculum, we want it to be the assessed curriculum, and we want it to be the achieved curriculum. We want that, we call that alignment. So the vision, it has been cast, and we've been working very hard. Why? I think the question, and I think we all need to continue to keep this in the forefront of our mind. Why did we want to systematize the curriculum audit and revision process? Why do we want to make sure that we're documented, we're testing, we're teaching, and our students are achieving our right curriculum? Well, I'm going to start right in the middle of this slide. We have 7 elementary schools, 2 middle schools, and a large comprehensive high school. So we have students and many classrooms in all of those buildings. And we wanted to make sure that it didn't matter which elementary school students went to, which classroom teacher they had. They have equal access to the same priority learning goals. That all students, that our academic standards of achievement in Pennsylvania, our learning goals are driven by academic standards of achievement. We no longer just decide what the priority learnings are. We can always add to the priority learnings, but they come to us via Pennsylvania's academic standards of achievement. So we wanted to make sure that all students had equal access to that. And we wanted to make sure that they had equal access across grades, across courses, and that when we looked K-12, we didn't have redundancies. and we didn't have gaps. So this intentional look at curriculum K-12 is really, really, really helping us to identify those gaps and redundancies and just make sure students have equal access. In our school district, we're seeing that some families are moving within the school district, and their children are moving buildings in the middle of the year. So we want to make sure that they can kind of pick up where they left off, regardless of the building that they came from and at the building that they're going into. And you can better bet the 7th grade teachers, they're really excited that those 6th graders are coming to them with some more common learnings. And then the 9th grade teachers, as the students exit the middle schools and go into the 9th grade building, we want them to go in with a common background that they can take with them into the 9th grade year. So working on that and improving it is the benefit is realized in that equal access. Also, it's a new day in education with the increased accountability. So if a teacher goes out on a maternity leave, a medical leave, takes a sabbatical, whatever, we need to make sure that any new teacher coming in can hit the ground running. And having a well-documented, electronically documented curriculum where teachers can just pick it up and go with it is going to be a benefit to students, because we won't miss a beat then, as much as we may if we had to orient a new teacher and they have to figure it all out all by themselves. So we're really trying to be as super efficient and be as efficient as possible. And the only other thing that I wanted to just kind of share with you, Heidi Hayes Jacobs is an international curriculum guru. So if you work in curriculum, she's somebody that I pay attention to make sure that we're keeping fresh at Hempfield what is going on across Pennsylvania, in the nation, and actually across the globe. And she quoted in one of her recent publications a question that every educator should be asking themselves, and parents should be asking of their schools. And she said, you should ask yourself this question: are we preparing the learners that are in our care? You send your children to us for their schooling experience. Are we preparing the children that you put in our care for their world in their future or our pasts? And that's where we need to start moving, into the 21st century. We've been there for a long time, for 14 years. And that's why we're really looking seriously at technology tools that will transform classrooms and learning environments. And we can begin to launch that through our written curriculum, our taught curriculum, our assessed curriculum, and our achieved curriculum. So these are some of the reasons why we have such an emphasis on keeping our curriculum refreshed through this curriculum audit and revision cycle. Now I'm going to show you this next slide, this next picture. It looks really complicated, but it's not. And I want to just kind of highlight why I'm showing you this busy slide. Across the top, you can see it says year 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The board-approved curriculum audit revision cycle is a 6-year cycle. So it began way back in 2009-10. Got off to a little late start because it wasn't approved until the spring of 2010. And social studies education and business education kind of launched. They were the pioneers into this cycle that we have been working through. And that's why you may notice that social studies is kind of ahead because they were, leading the charge. Business ed got a change of standards along the way, and they kind of had to do some regrouping. But what I want you to notice is the arrow in 2014-15. What that shows us is that as of this year, all 15 content areas are working right now on refreshing their curriculum. And they engage in an audit. Where are we now? Where do we want to be? How are we going to get there? And how are we going to document our progress? Those are the questions that department leaders ask their departments as they engage in this cycle when they're kind of launching into the cycle. So just this year, Foreign Language, Tech Ed, and Gifted just launched to the cycle. And then after a 6-year rotation, they begin all over again to take a look at the new work that has been done and to determine how they can improve it. So what I hope you can see in this graphic is different content areas are at different places in their work. And that kind of shows up in different ways. But right now, everybody's working, and actually, very shortly, we'll kind of be beginning again because we're in the 6th year of that cycle. This is a wonderful cycle. Before I came to work at Hempfield, I did a lot of consulting in a variety of school districts, primarily in Lancaster and Lebanon County, but also across the Commonwealth. And I tried to encourage these other school districts to implement a cycle like this. So when I saw that Hempfield was working on implementing and keeping its curriculum up to date and moving forward, I saw the cycle. And then when I had an opportunity to come to work here, I was very thrilled to do so, because this is a way to keep everything moving forward and fresh for your children. So I think this is a really good thing. Real quickly, and this is just, and you can look at this again in the slides as you want to. I just kind of wanted to give you a summary of what happens as teachers work through this cycle. And again, year 1 is all about research. Where are we now? Where do we want to be? How are we going to get there? And making those recommendations to the board. And getting very clear about the vision and mission that they have for their departments. Year 2 is a very busy year where the written curriculum actually gets revised if necessary and improved. So, and it's very much more involved than this. This is just a summary for you. Year 3 is where if we need to adopt a new core program, we do for our students and our teachers. For example, since I've been here, we've adopted an elementary social studies program. They were leading the charge. My World Social Studies. Those of you that have elementary students maybe are recognizing the My World Social Studies. And then last year we implemented a brand new math expressions program. And at the middle school, we implemented a new Big Ideas math program, and that's actually one of the programs that's being featured here this evening, the middle school Big Ideas math program. In February, we will be featuring the elementary math expressions program and some enhanced revisions or some supports for parents and families, because we know it's a new way of learning mathematics, and we want to get out there and get some more supports for families. But tonight we're featuring the middle school Big Ideas math program. Also, it's in year 3 where we begin to look at how can we assess all students in the same grade or in the same course across the district and get an idea about how our written and taught curriculum is impacting students' learning. And that's where we take a pause and we say, hey, we're going to take a pause and we're going to assess student achievement. And this is a new, it's not a new practice across the Commonwealth or our nation. It's not even super new to Hempfield, but so intentional. Being very, very intentional about it is where this common assessment practice is coming into play. But we have to remember that not every content area is at the same place in the cycle, so we don't have common district-wide assessments for every content area today. We continue to work on that, and we want to make sure that we we have these curriculum-based assessments that our teachers can use and discuss the data together that can help us make curriculum improvements, additional curriculum improvements and revisions. One of our sessions tonight is on the difference between formative and summative assessment. So that might be something that's of interest to you. The common assessments that we've been focusing on the past couple of years has been on common summative assessments. And really, we're still, moving forward with that. We have social studies, we have some math in place, we have some science at the secondary in place, but it'll take a couple of years until we get them all in place, because we need to continue to work on that in year 4 and year 5. Just now getting to, in years 5 and 6, really getting to instruction. So kind of can just take a look and see what the focus is. This is a slide I included in your packet as well, so you could see the questions that we ask ourselves as we prepare for your children to make sure that your children are getting the very best learning experiences that we can offer them. These are the questions. We say, what do the standards say my students need to know, understand, and be able to do by the end of the grade, by the end of the course, by the end of a unit? And then we say, how are we going to know they know? How are we going to know at the end? How are we going to know along the way? What are our assessment strategies going to be? Now we ask ourselves, how are we going to best lead them in their learning? How are we going to make sure that they learn and can show us they've learned what we said we wanted them to know, understand, and be able to do? And then very important, question number 4, what are we going to do if our students show us they haven't learned yet? That they haven't learned what we wanted them, what we knew, what the priority learnings were yet, because we want to be responsive to that. It's no longer okay to say, oh, they didn't get it. We need to say, what are we going to do when they show us they haven't learned yet? So this is lots and lots of work that needs to be done to get a system like this purring, and that the synergy is just really obvious. And there's always room for improvement, but I guarantee you through this cycle we're working on that. We have 5 parts to our written curriculum, and maybe you are familiar with our year-at-a-glance documents. Those are the ones I want to show you tonight. Just throwing up on the screen right now an elementary example of a year-at-a-glance document. This is grade 2 social studies. And then there's a companion document that the teachers use with the students. The year-at-a-glance is something we've actually made public, and I want to show you where that is tonight. This is an example of a middle school document, year-at-a-glance for grade 7 strategic literacy and a KUD chart. And this is an example of a fundamentals of design. It's an art class, fundamentals of design, and a KUD. And I guess what I wanted you to see by that is this is what our infrastructure looks like as we document our curriculum. We store it electronically on an internal curriculum site, but you have access to every year-at-a-glance document on a public site. And it's accessible to you off of our homepage. So I'm going to exit out of my PowerPoint, which just closed on me, which is okay. And I'm going to go to our Hempfield homepage. I gave you the link on that one slide so you could see the link to this, but I want to show you how easy it is to find these year-at-a-glance documents. So this is the homepage, and here's the bar for all of our drop-down menus. So if you drop down on academics, and you highlight curriculum, you click on it, and there's this big red button that says Hempfield Curriculum, click here. And it takes you to our public curriculum SharePoint site. part of the address highlighted. Here comes the rest of it. So again, home page, scroll over the academics to the academics drop down, and then highlight curriculum. And this is a public site. So I can go to English language, or I'll say English language arts, for example, and I can open it up. All the content areas go down the left-hand side. Oh, and it popped it open. And then here you see kindergarten through grade 12 for English language arts. So I'm going to choose 4th grade for English language arts. And when I click on 4th grade, let's say I have a child in 4th grade. It's a little slow. Working on it, it says. It always says working on it. And here is the grade 4 year at a glance document for English language arts. And I'm just going to pop it open to show you what it looks like. So it pops open. And basically what you see is, for grade 4, these are the major units of study for grade 4 English language arts. So if I back out of that, let's see. I'm going to back in for you. Home page, academics, curriculum, click here. And you can literally select any content area, any grade or course, and you will see a year-at-a-glance document. We call it like our cover sheet, if you will. I'm just going to show you one more. I'm going to go into mathematics. Tonight we're featuring middle school mathematics. I'm going to go into mathematics. And I'm going to pick 7th grade. And I'm going to go into pre-algebra. 7th grade pre-algebra has been getting a lot of conversation. That's one of the things we're going to feature this evening. And maybe as a parent, I want to know, what's the difference between this on grade level pre-algebra and this accelerated pre-algebra? So I can click on this folder, and I'm a clicker, so like if it doesn't come right up, I keep clicking. And I can see on grade level is expected, pre-algebra expected, and pre-algebra accelerated. And I can go in and I can look at these cover pages, if you are, of what's the difference between expected and accelerated. Okay? And you get the same structure. Units, approximate number of class sessions, and alignment with our Pennsylvania academic standards. So, for all students, for all grades and courses, and you can go in there and find those. So I encourage you to check it out, 24/7, anytime, anywhere you can access. And then we have behind-the-scenes documents, of course, that provide our teachers with more detailed information. So I'm going to, again, I'm going to come here and I'm going to say to you, we've cast this vision for curriculum for the Hempfield School District so that all students will have equal access to the same priority learnings, regardless of the building or the classroom they're in. All students should, and we want them to, experience different kinds of teachers. That's part of learning how to learn and grow and get along and excel with different classmates and different kinds of teachers. The art of teaching should be the teacher's own. But the learning goals in our state, in our nation, in our state, the learning goals are reflected by that state's academic standards of achievement. And we want every child to have access to that. So as we have these information sessions, you're going to be able to learn more about our educational programming. And as I mentioned when you first got here, there are 4 sessions for you to choose from. There's a session for middle school math. There's a session on ebooks and electronic library resources. There is a session on formative and summative assessment and the way Sapphire calculates grades. And there's a session on all of the communication structures that Hempfield School District has in place to build those effective homeschool partnerships. Those are your 4 choices, and you choose 2 for this evening in the time period that's on the front of your schedule. Again, please don't forget that feedback sheet. We want to hear from you. We want to know about the format for the evening. We want to know what you think about the topics that you experienced tonight. And we'll tear that sheet off, and one of the task force members will collect it. Or any task force member can collect it by the end. So we're just going out the door, to the left, and down, up the steps and down the hallway, and that's where you can find the room numbers. Thank you so much for coming, and I hope that you'll walk away with new nuggets tonight. Enjoy.